All right, first of all, number 13 says, given that the line T is perpendicular to the bisector of JK, right? So what that means is that the line T and JK are perpendicular,
Yeah, once you use that pen
right? I don't know. This works. So they're perpendicular, right? And it's a perpendicular bisector. What does bisector mean?
That it cuts in half.
That's right. So that means that this is cut in half. Those are equal pieces. Okay? Of JK and GK, which equal 8.5. GK equals 8.5. So this is 8.5. Okay. So find GJ. Right?
Well, wouldn't it be 8.5?
Exactly. What we should know is that this is also a right angle, right? And that they share this, right? So this is side, angle, side. Side, angle, side. So what that tells us is that these are proportional, right? But also that they are congruent. Okay? So these two triangles are congruent triangles. They're not just similar, they're congruent, right? Which means that this side has to equal this side. And if this side is 8.5, then that means that this side is 8.5. That's it. That was pretty easy, yeah? Okay. So we move on to 15. What? Question? We have, take a look here. Put it in blue. This is a side that we had. And this was an angle. And this is an angle. This is a side, right? And then we also knew that this side and this side were congruent. So if I know that a side, angle, side, side, angle, side, right? Remember SAS?
Yeah.
From the end of that test? Side, angle, side theorem tells us that they're congruent. That means these two triangles are congruent, meaning they are the same. So that means that this side has to be the same as this side. And if this side's 8.5, then that means that this side is 8.5. Is that better?
Mm.
Okay.
Next one, wouldn't it be beside
Still
side
14?
head?
That was 13.
13.
Given that measure of angle RSQ equals
So, given the measure RSQ is equal to the measure TSQ. So, first of all, let's take a look at what RSQ is. RSQ, right? And then TSQ, right? And so it says here that given that RSQ is equal, so I'm going to say red and then I'm going to say blue so that we can kind of get an understanding, right? Then TQ is 1.3, right? So I know that, first of all, these angles are congruent, right? And I also know that because these are right angles, that those angles are congruent. And I also know that this angle is, or this side is congruent to that side. And then I also know that that's the hypotenuse because it's across. So I know that due to HL, right? Remember, hypotenuse leg tells me that these two are congruent.
So RQ equals 1.3.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know about RQ. I just know that TQ is 1.3. So TQ is 1.3. And then, yes, then that means that this one, or RQ in this case, is 1.3. And that's the one it's asking for. Does that help? And then 15. So I'm going to have to erase this one. Okay? So get this down. So I'm going to erase this. But 15 is given that RQ and TQ are equal. So it's a totally different one. And I could go like this. RST. Right? And R, S, T, and then Q, right? Alright, let's come over here. So this one is RSQ. And we know that RSQ and we don't know. No. We know that there's a piece here, SQ. The only thing we know is that RQ is equal to TQ. So RQ. So this one is equal to this one. Okay. We also know that this shares, so we know that these are equal to, this one's equal to itself, right? QS is equal to SQ. It also says that the measure of QSR, so this one, QSR, the measure of this is 9A plus 48. 9A plus 48, right? And QST, let's do that in blue. QST, this one is equal to S 6A plus 50. Okay. Now the thing is, I know that this is congruent to this. I also know that this is congruent to this, and this is congruent to itself. I know that this is hypotenuse, and I know this is the leg. So the hypotenuse is congruent, the leg is congruent, so due to HL, again, this is a congruent triangle, right? Which means that these are congruent, which means that these are equal. Does that make sense? So that means I know that 9A plus 48 is equal to 6A plus 50. Now which one am I going to move? I move the lowest A. Right? So which A is lower? 6 or 9? 6. So I'm going to move 6 by adding the opposite. And I get 3A plus 48 is equal to 50. So now I'm going to move the 48, right? By adding the opposite. So you get 3A is equal to 2. So then divide by 3, divide by 3. A is equal to 2/3. Okay? It asks you to find QST. QST is the blue one. So we just plug that A in, right? So that's 6 times 2/3 plus 50. What is 2/3 of 6? 4. Okay. So we have 4 plus 50, which is 54. Okay. So this should also be 54, right? If I plugged in 2/3 in here, 2/3 of this is 6, and 6 plus 48 is 54 also. Does that make sense? Bingo.